Ahoy there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to a new Football Talks. The season has begun. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, what's going on?
This is the second attempt at recording, but we both are going into this season 0-1 because if you saw my Twitter yesterday, I put that we predicted the Broncos would lose to the Panthers, and we were wrong by 1 point.
Yeah, well,
Unfortunate.
we wouldn't have been wrong if Graham Gano actually made his field goal.
Yep. Well,
But
we have to move on. So, disregarding that game, we're fine, but we will have our bold predictions, then our predictions for the playoff teams for this year, and finally the picks for the Sunday games, or just the rest of the games for Week 1.
right,
Sound good?
sounds amazing.
Alright, Bill, let's get started with the bold predictions. You and I have about 7 or more, I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, Bill, I will let you start this one off.
All right. So my first bold prediction of this season, and since I've already started out really badly, 0-16 Cleveland. 0-16 Cleveland. Now, now, me predicting the game has already led me to think that this prediction is not going to come true, but I think 0-16 Cleveland is a legit shot of happening, and we'll see.
I think it should have happened last year, but yeah. Well, since you're talking about 0-16, I'm gonna have to disagree, Bill. I believe
Oh, God.
Cleveland will win some games, and in this case, I'm gonna say that the 49ers will have the first pick of the draft, meaning they will have the worst record in the NFL. So, sorry, Bill. I know the Cleveland Browns one sounds fun, but I would rather take the 49ers going 0-16. If you want to talk about least talented, it is clearly San Francisco. They have a mess of quarterbacks. Not all of them are probably going to start. They have no depth whatsoever, and they lack talent in every crucial field possible. They
Right.
did get a good draft with their first round pick. They got who I thought they were going to get. Well, in one mock draft at least. What's his name? I forget his name, but it was the other player that would have gone behind Joey Boza.
Right.
But anyway, so that's a start, but they have much more to rebuild. The only problem is it's going to take a long time for this team to rebuild because they don't have a lot of draft picks. But hey, getting the first round in the draft, or first pick of the draft, might help set that up. You could do it. Cleveland and Tennessee didn't have more draft picks than what to deal with. Soon
Yep.
they'll have more draft picks than they will players on the roster.
It's true.
But anyway, so I'll throw out another one since I followed with that. Khalil Mack will win Defensive MVP. If you recall, I said that J.J. Watt will become the overall MVP. You know, the first defensive player to win MVP since Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
So somebody else to take a spot, and between we have Khalil Mack, you have Patrick Peterson, you have Ziggy Ansah. I'm gonna have to go with Khalil Mack for this one. I believe in him as the sole good player in Oakland, and I think he'll have to carry that whole defense on his back.
Right.
All right, Bill, it's your turn.
Well, piggybacking off my 0-16 Cleveland pick, the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, RG3. RG3 is going to have a season where he throws for 35 interceptions. He is going to have one of the statistically worst years of all time throwing interceptions. There we go.
We'll have to wait and see, Bill. I'm saying that for Cleveland, RG3 will stay. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, these next two picks are draft or Pro Bowl related, but I'll say one for each team. My first one is Jameis Winston and Mike Evans will go to the Pro Bowl, and I don't mean that they're picked because some players decline. I think these guys will be all pros and be shoo-ins for the Pro Bowl because I think they'll have two big leaps, especially Mike Evans since he's been in Tampa Bay a little longer. Jameis Winston had a good season for a rookie. and if you're thinking, always players don't have the best rookie years. If he did that better than most others in the past, just imagine his second year, his leap. God can only tell us that. So I think
Right.
Jameis Winston and Mike Evans will be going to the Pro Bowl.
Right.
What's your next one, Bill?
So, going from the bad, we're going to go back to the good. And I think this team is vastly underrated and that they will compete. And it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them competing for a playoff spot in Week 17. They will be on the fringe of the playoffs, competing for a playoff spot in the last week of the season.
Okay. And what is their fate, or are you not going to say?
Their fate will be determined later by the playoff picture.
All right, very well. My next one for related to Pro Bowl, Amari Cooper and Derek Carr will make the Pro Bowl. These two, I believe, were drafted the same year. The Raiders have hit it with their draft picks, and what better way for Derek Carr to shut out all the naysayers and the doubters than to be with the help of Amari Cooper. Those two will essentially piggyback off each other and become all pros as well and join the greats.
Right.
All right, Bill, what's yours?
My next one is another good one, and it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is only going to play in 12 games this year. We all know he's got that crappy suspension.
Yep.
But in those 12 games, he will throw 50 touchdown passes in 12 games.
Oh, I'd love to see that. So if you drafted Tom Brady, which I hope people didn't draft him too high, because you got to have somebody to start for the first 4 weeks. Am I right?
Right.
So to those who chose to draft him late and got good value, then follow Bill's advice. Start him after the minute he comes back, especially against Cleveland. He is going to rip them a new one.
Right.
Anyway, my next one is going to be another bad one, I guess. The Bears and the Eagles will finish with the top 5 draft picks. Like I said, 49ers will have number 1, so they will be somewhere in between 2 and 5. They could be any one of those. I'm not telling you where they'll be. I'm just saying they're going to be in that general area because they need a lot of help everywhere. And Philly, I don't know. Philly can actually, if things go right, maybe they can squeak in the playoffs because the NFC East is the garbage division now. The AFC South is just going to rise up and laugh at them and be like, that's what we used to be. I'm so glad we're now above that.
Right.
But I'm not putting that as a bold prediction because I can't say that the NFC is being bad is a bold prediction. Maybe to Al and Chris Collinsworth, but I'm just stating the facts. It's the garbage division.
Right.
So yeah, Bill, how many do you got left? How many bold predictions you got?
3.
I've got 4. So go ahead.
All right. So, the Los Angeles Rams have this running back that the poor fans in St. Louis got to only see 1 year of, and that is Todd Gurley. This year, the Los Angeles Rams running back Todd Gurley will have 2,100 rushing yards.
So he will beat Emmitt Smith's record. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yes.
You know, Bill, I really wanted to make that my bold prediction, but I was going to save it for next year. So if that fails this year, then that's my prediction next year.
Right.
Original character. It's an original idea, Bill. Do not steal. But I want that to happen, but we'll have to see. Anyway, next one. We will have a tie game this year. That sounds stupid, but honestly, every now and again we'll get a tie game. The last tie we had was Cincinnati against the Panthers. During that year, the NFC South was a tire fire, and the Panthers got in like 7 and 7. No, was it 7 and 8 and 1? I think
Right.
that tie was enough to squeak them in the playoffs. But yeah, pretty good. I don't know when we'll have it. I can't say. I'm feeling it this year. I will probably somewhere in the season when I'm feeling it's coming, I'll make my pick. It's pretty much it's like I'm throwing away this loss, but if I call it, you must hail me as a prophet. Especially if we get a tie anyway this year. You still hail me as a prophet anyway.
Oh man.
Okay, Bill, your turn.
All right. So my Detroit Lions, their defense will be a top 3 defense this year. They're going to be vastly underrated coming into the season, and they're going to play really well, and they're done being the top 3.
Well, Bill, I can see where you're coming from with the front 7. Well, mostly the line. The line in particular I have no qualms with, but my doubts, my big doubts, especially when we were talking draft, you know what I was addressing as the big problem. Corners. You have Darius Slay, but that's about it.
Right.
And I was pointed out to this recently, but linebackers may be a concern. Aside from Levy, who else do you have? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. If everything goes right, maybe they will be. But anyway, for me, the next one will be related to the Broncos. Granted, now this is starting to be a harder task because they won their first game, but I'm going to still go with it. The Broncos will miss the playoffs. Let's return to the trend of the Super Bowl team that won last year will miss the playoffs the year after. The last team that did that was the Baltimore Ravens after they won theirs against San Francisco. So that'll be fun. I mean, the defense was just murdering Cam Newton, almost to the point where I can see why people say they should have been fouled or flagged more, but I'm just thinking maybe we should see. If the trend keeps going where they do questionable things, then yes, the NFL should be getting on that and not, picking sides with other teams to win more titles, right, Bill? It's not like the NFL has ever done that in their career. Hint, hint, Dallas, Green Bay. Those 2 questionable calls that happened. One in the Dallas Stadium in Jerry's World, and another in Lambeau. That year.
Yep.
But they wouldn't do that. Goodell's a good man. Anyway, Bill, it's your turn.
All right. So this team is going to break all the offensive records, I honestly believe, this year, and that is the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals will set records for all major offensive statistical categories.
As a team.
As a team.
All right, that's fair. That could be. They've got the most balanced attack out of all 32 teams. They've got solid offense. David Johnson ready to take another step, and I don't see Larry Fitzgerald burning out anytime soon, especially if they reach the playoffs. And defense, they are still good. Patrick Peterson, Honey Badger, and Claris something. Is it Claris Campbell? Something like that. Campbell.
Claris.
Okay, I said his name right then.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. They've got the defense to help along with the offense. I can see this working. Anyway. Was that all you had, Bill? Because I've got 2 more left.
Yep.
All right, then. These last 2 are for me. First, Rob Gronkowski, because I haven't mentioned any for the specific teams he talked about last time. Rob Gronkowski will have 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. I don't know if that's common for tight ends. Tight ends, I don't really see many that get 1,000. But with Gronk, I can. And by the way, it's a bit of a asterisk or a mention. This is with both Brady and Garoppolo. So he's going to get some things with Garoppolo, although I don't know about the touchdowns, but I'm pretty sure the yards for sure. But we'll see. I expect, because Garoppolo, the little caveat to people saying that he's not a starter or anything is that you need to see him with the other starters. He's been playing with everybody except for Gronk, Edelman, and Amendola. Those guys have been resting most of the time, especially Gronk. So we'll see, because, and what makes the Patriots dangerous is their tight end core, especially this year. Anyway, the last one. Dallas will have the worst defense this whole year. I'm not just saying during the time where all the players are suspended. Even when they're all here, they're going to be bad.
Right.
I mean 32nd. I don't know about statistically the worst. I mean, I could maybe say the same about the Saints because for worst defenses, my three teams that I nominate are going to be Dallas, San Francisco, and New Orleans. The difference is Dallas and the Saints have offenses to make up for that, to become glass
Right.
cannon teams. Also the Colts. I would throw in the Colts. But yeah,
Right.
San Francisco don't get anything, so they're the only they're the only three really that can counter this argument. But I'm gonna
Right.
stick with my guns and what I've been saying. Dallas needs to be punished for not focusing on the defense at all this year, especially when they're saying they want to make a Super Bowl run. But hey, we'll have to wait and see. All right,
Right.
Bill. I think it's time we move on to the playoff predictions for the six teams for the NFC and the AFC. I will go first, and I will talk about the AFC teams. So my first seed. Some say the AFC is just weak this year, and I can understand why, but I can give you one consistent one. The most consistent team. They've had about 5 or 6 buys, or first-round buys in a row, which that's unprecedented. The last team that did, I don't know who it was, but they got only 4. The Patriots have already shattered that out of the water. The Patriots, they're going to not only get first-round bye, they're also going to clinch home field advantage, so they can rest easy. Of course, some teams will say cheaters, but we'll see.
Right.
Number 2. Now, originally, before everything happened, the injuries or the suspensions, I had Pittsburgh being the number 2. I was gonna say Pittsburgh, New England, because the Pittsburgh offense would have been one of the most dynamic and destructive even on the best of defenses.
Right.
But you don't have Martavis Bryant, you don't have Le'Veon Bell for the early season, but Le'Veon Bell, assuming he stays healthy, will be devastating. So it's all dependent on all that, but regardless, I'm not trusting Pittsburgh because their defense is not the best either. It's not the worst. It's about on the middle or a bit above, but that's it. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I trust Cincinnati to just make the playoffs. That doesn't mean they're going to win a playoff game, but I trust them to make it because that's the one consistent thing they've shown us. They can always make the playoffs.
Right.
Number 3, the Houston Texans. I think everything's coming together. All the doubt with Brock Osweiler. I don't blame them because, yes, this guy is an enigma. But I say this. If the Texans could go to the playoffs with Brian Hoyer, what is so wrong with the idea of them going with Brock Osweiler? Do you know what I mean? Now,
Right.
while we can't prove he's a great quarterback, can you really prove he's a bad one? I mean, his record was 5-2. Granted, he was carried by the defense still, but he did show much more signs of being okay than being utter garbage. And like I said before, the game where he was taken out for Peyton Manning, those 2 turnovers were not his own fault. One, C.J. Anderson fumbled the ball, which was the one I think that got him actually ejected. And the other was, I believe, one of the receivers letting go of the ball and letting the Chargers take it. Those weren't his fault. Those were the other players. Now, it would have been one thing if his passes were bad, but I mean, when you hand the ball to somebody and they grab it with no problem and then drop it after taking 5 steps, can you really make an argument of, yeah, it's the way Brock Osweiler handed the ball off that C.J. Anderson fumbled it? Okay, it seems legit. But anyway, I'm not trying to say Brock Osweiler is great. I'm just playing a bit of devil's advocate here.
Right. Exactly.
So, but again, I just trust the defense to do well, and I think the new wide receivers, Braxton Miller and Will Fuller, I think they will do wonders on this team. I don't know about Tyler Irving aside from special teams, but we'll have to wait and see about him. Next, number 4, Kansas City. It was a bit tough deciding who's going to be number 3 and number 4 between Texans and Chiefs, but I'm going to pick Kansas City here because I don't see the Broncos winning, so that leaves the other 2 teams. or the other three, I should say. The Chargers, I think, aren't going to make it. And I may as well give it a spoiler here. Number 5 will be the Raiders. The Chiefs will win the division, but the Raiders will be not too far behind and become the wild card team. So the Raiders will have made the playoffs since when? 2002?
Correct.
But however, hopefully no tuck rule will affect them either. But number 6 is interesting. I'm going to pick... No, for once we're not going to have 2 NFC North teams make the playoffs. Because it's going to be 2 AFC South teams. We're going to have Jacksonville sneak into the playoffs by winning their last game against the Colts.
Ooh.
Should be fun. Jacksonville has a high-octane offense, assuming they're not always playing in garbage time, because that seems to be when they're at their best. And Blake Bortles doesn't make any costly mistakes. They should be able to make it and start turning the AFC South into one of the best divisions in football.
Right.
All right, Bill, it's your turn.
All right, so our top of the standings, or top of the conference is very similar. Number 1, I have New England. I think once Tom Brady comes back, he'll be very angry, and he's just be a very dangerous player to deal with, and I think he'll be very motivated to get that number 1 seed. Now, my number 2 seed is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Like you said, I don't trust Pittsburgh to make it there. So, I trust Cincinnati way more than I trust Pittsburgh. Number 3, I have the Houston Texans as well. Obviously, they have a great defense with J.J. Watt and a lot of those guys. And they have DeAndre Hopkins. They have a pseudo running game, and they have Brock Osweiler, a great wild card. If he plays well, they could be a dangerous team. Now, here's where it gets different, is my number 4 team, and the winner of the AFC West, and that is the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders will be division winners for the first time since 2002. They have all the pieces in place, minus a little bit on the defense, but all that young offense is just going to be starting to explode into their prime. So
I can see that.
So that leaves my number 5 team, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have been winning the division a little bit, and second place constantly. They've either been in first or second, and competing with the Broncos constantly. This is where they drop off a little bit, and they're going to move back towards second or third place. They're going to be in the wild card spot though at the number 5 slot.
All right.
Now, you have Jacksonville, and sadly, they are going to lose in that last game, I think, and they're going to lose, and Pittsburgh will sneak their way into the playoffs just barely. They got an offense. Their defense is still young. They got a lot of work to do.
Well, that's fair enough. I don't trust Pittsburgh to win some of these games that they got this year. They're not playing teams like Seattle, but they still have to deal with the Patriots.
Right.
That should be fun. All right, Bill. Now we're on to the NFC side. I'll let you go first for this one.
All right. So, my number 1 team on the NFC side is the Arizona Cardinals. This team could be legitimately 15-1 very easily. Like I said, I think they're going to break all the offensive records, and I think they'll lock up the number 1 slot. They have everything. They're a balanced team. They just got everything. They look legitimately scary. But so does my second team. And no matter what happened on Thursday night, the Carolina Panthers are a legit scary Super Bowl team. And Cam Newton's only getting better, and that's what's getting even more scary about it. He's finding receivers and progressions, etc., etc. He's starting to develop into a mature quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, my number 3 team and the winner of the NFC North is my Detroit Lions.
Oh, God.
I just got to pick them because I have faith, and I gotta go with it. I gotta go with it. Now, my number 4 team is the Washington football team. They have a legit shot of going 8-8 this year and making the playoffs, and I think that's what's going to happen in that division. Whoever goes 8-8 is not make the playoffs, because they are going to get walloped by a bunch of teams this year.
Yeah. All right, Bo, your wild card teams.
My number 5, my first wild card team is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are the first wild card. They're a very dangerous defensive team. Russell Wilson doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. They have a decent running game. Their passing game's okay. They get enough done on offense. They're mainly built off their defense, and they're just a dangerous team. And my second wild card team, no matter how much I don't want to say it, it's the Green Bay Packers. They got a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I can't deny them a playoff spot, no matter how much I really want to deny them their playoff spot.
All right, so for the first seed in the NFC side, I have Arizona. I could see them as a 13-3 team once again. Like I said earlier, I think they're overall a perfect, balanced attack. They will beat you on either side of the ball. Honey Badger is definitely one of the dangerous players who is quite versatile. And as for the offensive side, David Johnson is bound to make his leap. Number 2, I have the Carolina Panthers, the last year's NFC champion. The Panthers, while they had that start against the Broncos yesterday, I think they'll do just fine, especially since, they're playing the NFC South. It would not surprise me if they won every single division game this year again. Actually, no, they didn't win every single one last year. Last year's for the Falcons. The Falcons were a stain on them. I forgot about that, so... But I can see them win every single division game, so that's a free 6 wins right there. Everything else, I think they can pull off. Next, I have the Green Bay Packers winning the championship. I will say, if that injury didn't happen to Teddy Bridgewater, I was going to be crazy and actually go with the Vikings to win again, and the Packers will have some trouble because the Packers now have competition. This isn't their division. Like with the whole thing with the Texans and the Jaguars getting in over the Colts, same things apply here. It is no longer their division to just stomp over and just say, this is ours, we're king of the North, or the Colts case, king of the South. It's now, they really have to work for these wins in the division, I think. But because the Vikings are pretty much out, I don't have them going to the playoffs this year. This is Green Bay's division again. It's going to be really hard for the Lions to be honestly, the Lions are the best hope of dethroning them because the Vikings are, come on. Sam Bradford as your starter. Good luck with that. I mean that, by the way. Anyway, next I have, for number 4, the Washington football team. Now, before I was saying that any team can win this, and that's true. The Dallas Cowboys, the Giants, or the Philadelphia Eagles could win this division, and no one would really be surprised, except for maybe the Eagles, considering they're starting their rookie quarterback. Good luck, and it'll hope he has fun getting slaughtered. I think Washington can do it much better. I think Kirk Cousins will be more not say about as great as before, or as good last year, but they should be fine. Their wide receivers are all dangerous, but their running game is what I'm a little concerned about. Anyway,
right.
For the wild card teams, Seattle will easily take the 5 spot. It's gonna almost be a lock that if the Cardinals don't get in as a number 1 seed, they'll be the wild card, because both of these two are going in no matter what. These birds are the best birds in all of NFL for the next few seasons. But I don't doubt Russell Wilson anymore. I've just seen how he's improved so much over the past season. I don't doubt him anymore. I will not question him anymore, because I think how do I put it? Let's just say he's done things that only pro quarterbacks could do.
Right.
And plus, his core, like, you think, his talent is thinning on his side. Like, he's losing wide receivers like Golden Tate and Marshawn Lynch. It's just fine. They're going to do just fine. Jimmy Graham, I don't even know if they really needed him, but who knows? Maybe Russell Wilson can give him some good use. And if that's the case, well then, they are an offense to really watch out for. But they still have a Super Bowl to win in them. I just know that. Russell Wilson's not going to settle for just 1. I think he's going to get 2, and that's it. Last team, the 6th spot. I honestly don't know. I'm going to throw out 3 names. The first 2 are those that could get in, but I'll pick my third one as the one who I'm going to stick with. The first 2 options are 2 NFC South teams. The Buccaneers, like I said, I have to go with Jameis Winston and Mike Evans being taking up a big leap and becoming even better players than they already were. I've already mentioned Jameis Winston trying to get the big step from the rookie season. Next after that, Matt Ryan and his Falcons. I mean, come on, you have Mohamed Sanu to go along with Julio Jones. You have Devontae Freeman. Your defense the defense is their X factor, honestly. If their defense can just play on the border of being good and bad, just be decent, they can go to the playoffs. They can challenge some teams.
Right.
But that's about it. I don't know about their defense. That's why I didn't pick them. I'm going to go with the Lions for you, Bill. This is more so for you. The Lions need to have things go in their favor, and they have one of the easiest schedules this year. You're playing against the NFC East. Like, the Lions can go 4-0 out of beating all 4 of them. I don't think they will. I mean, if you recall, I think they went 2-2, but they can beat the Washington football team and the New York Giants. They just need to play their cards right.
Right.
Anyway, Bill, I think that'll do it. So, we have one little thing before the schedule. We need to talk about the Final Four. Who will be the 2 AFC title game contestants and the NFC side? Who will be playing in the NFC title game this year?
NFC title game?
Yes.
I got Arizona and Detroit in Arizona.
And I have Arizona and Seattle. Seattle will just upset. I think Seattle will upset either the Packers, maybe both, the Packers and the Panthers. That would be fun, actually. But as for me, I'm going to say Cardinals, Seahawks, because I think the Panthers are just going to mess up in the playoffs. But anyway.
Right.
What about the AFC side?
I've got New England and Cincinnati.
I have New England and the Chiefs, a rematch of the divisional game last year, and it's going to end exactly like you think it will. Anyway, so for the AFC side and the NFC side, the winners will be for Super Bowl 51, New England against Arizona. This was my Super Bowl pick last year, and it could have happened. It could have happened, but it didn't. But I think this time it will. So, who do you got for your side? Who will be your teams that are going to the Super Bowl this year?
Mine is the New England Patriots against the Detroit Lions.
Am I not surprised, Bill? I mean, I'd love for Houston. If Houston does everything right, they can go all the way. I mean, that defense, try to tell me it's not elite. I want to hear. I heard freaking Maurice Jones-Drew on a podcast. You know who he is, right, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
He was saying that the corners for Houston aren't that great. It's like, what do you mean? You have Kevin Johnson in his second year who has shown he has good football IQ. I mean, Ike Taylor from the Pittsburgh Steelers was arguing with him about this, saying that you have him, you have Jonathan Joseph and Kareem Jackson. How is that not a great trio of corners? Do you know how many teams would kill to have three above average corners? Detroit only has one. Dallas
Right.
has nothing. New England really has maybe. They only really have one, I think. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even the Cardinals, they only have Patrick Peterson and Honey Badger. Do you know how many teams really would kill for three good corners?
A lot.
The Texans' defense has the potential to be the best this year. I don't know about historic. I mean, you have J.J. Watt, but to be historic, Clowney needs to steal sacks from J.J. Watt. Do you know what I mean? He needs to
Yeah.
beat Watt to the quarterback first. If you think Watt can get to the quarterback fast, imagine Clowney, because you saw
Right.
him as with a three-man rush get to Brady. This guy can do it. You just need to see
Right,
him
yeah.
just destroy the best offensive lines, which I think Clowney can do. And of course, look for Whitney Merciless, because I know everyone praises the crap out of Von Miller, but you want to know something? Here's a fun fact. Whitney Merciless, same position, like Von Miller, had more tackles and more sacks than Von Miller.
Right.
So, I'm not saying he's better, but I'm just saying don't sleep on Whitney Merciless as well. But
Right.
anyway, alright, Bill, I think we're done with that. I think it's time for the picks. Are you ready, Bill?
Oh man, yes I am.
All right, we are going in this 0-1 because, like I said, we have we called the opening game Panthers Broncos wrong. The Broncos won 21-20, but we're gonna move straight to Sunday and onwards, right, Bill?
Yep, exactly.
All right, Bill, start us off.
So here we go. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons. The Bucks can easily take this one if they play their cards right, but I'm gonna trust the home team for this one.
I got this being a close game, like a 23-20, and the Falcons will take this.
All right, Bill, what do you got next?
Next up, the Minnesota Vikings at the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans will falter to Sam Bradford because the Titans defense is so garbage. Adrian Peterson, like everyone's like hyping DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. Well, Derrick Henry especially should take notes because he's gonna watch a great show him how it's done. I think Adrian Peterson will outrun both DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry combined this game as he carries the Vikings to a victory.
I agree with that sentiment. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to crush the Tennessee Titans in a blowout.
This is what we call the Titans. Back to the Titans.
All right. So next up, the Cleveland Browns at the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, Bill, here's my first upset. This is where we're going to differentiate. I have RG3 going back to Philly and showing him what, owning them once again and reminding who was on top, remembering his first rookie year against Philly. Well, when he was with Washington. First and rookie are repetitive, actually, now that I think about that.
Right. Well, to stick with my 0-16 prediction, I'm going to pick the Eagles to defeat the Browns. I just feel the Browns are just not a good team. Neither are the Eagles, but I think the Eagles might just beat this team in a 10-7 game, something like that.
That's fair. I just think that the Browns will find a way. I mean, these are upsets.
Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Jets.
Here's another upset I've got. This one's close either way. The Bengals, the reason why I have them losing to the Jets is because there are too many players suspended for the beginning. Some players are not even suspended for that long, but this is a game that they should win, but I don't think they will. Fitzpatrick will debut well because Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall showing once again they are the best wide receiver duo in the AFC. They will take care of business, outshining the Bengals offense, winning this when it comes down to the wire, I think.
And I have it different. I have the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Jets, but this is going to be a close game. It's going to be a really close game.
Of course. But hey, at
Next
least
up,
at least they don't have a dirty player to knock out Brandon Marshall with a concussion.
right?
No Vontaze Burfict here.
Oh yeah. Next up, the Oakland Raiders at the New Orleans
The
Saints.
Saints were once invincible at home. Not anymore. The Raiders will come in and shred that garbage Saints defense. Oakland will just easily do wonders on this defense, and Amari Cooper will get 2 touchdowns.
I've got the Raiders shredding this defense as well. Mari Cooper's, I have a big game. So is Carr. So is Latavius Murray.
All right, who's next?
Next up, the San Diego Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs.
I feel bad for Philip Rivers. He needs to win a Super Bowl because he just deserves one. But alas, first shutout of the year, the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no Jamal Charles, no problem. No Justin Houston, no problem. This defense will just show its fangs to the world, shutting out San Diego, and Philip Rivers will be very upset.
Captain Checkdown lives on in Alex Smith and the Chiefs, and Captain Checkdown will defeat the Chargers. The Chiefs will win.
All right.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh boy, I have the Baltimore Ravens squeezing this one out. Joe Flacco having a nice debut. Welcome back. They need it, and they need it at every game. This one will not be easy, though.
I've got it different. I've got the Buffalo Bills winning this game because Tyrod Taylor is going to run all over the field on the Ravens defense.
All right.
Next up, the Chicago Bears at the Houston Texans.
The NFL made a prediction saying that the Bears would beat the Texans 23-20, I believe, or was it 20-17? The reasoning: Brock Osweiler should not win his debut. Okay, like I said, he doesn't need to play like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers to win this game. In fact, I'm pretty sure the defense is going to win this one for them. The Texans won't need to do much in terms of carrying the ball from one side of the field to the other because the Bears will just turn it over so much. And I don't mean just Cutler. I mean everyone's turning the ball over. And the Texans just have great positions to score. I have the Texans winning this one pretty comfortably.
I have a Texans blowout. The Bears are not a good team. The Texans are a good team. It's easy to see.
My hope is Watt doesn't play too much because I do not want him re-aggravating his back.
Next up is the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh boy, this one could be a shootout. I don't think it's I have a 100-point shootout coming into this season. Both teams combined will score for 100. This one won't be. This one will probably go up to freaking 60 points. The Packers will come out on top because the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is just not good enough.
I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's the Packers. I can't pick against them with the Jaguars. Sorry.
Yep.
Next up, the Miami Dolphins at the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, the Seahawks are going to have some fish tonight. Get some sushi while they're, or something. The Seahawks will just blow out the Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill just won't look good this week.
The Dolphins will wonder if there were 20 men on the field because the Seahawks will destroy them like 42-0.
Yep.
So I got the Seahawks.
Of course.
Next up, the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. The Dak Prescott hype train's already going underway. Don't worry, it won't go that far. But both sides have bad defenses, but at least Dallas has more than just one good wide receiver, whereas that's all that New York has. All they have is Odell Beckham, who I still think isn't that great of a player.
I've got the New York Giants beating the Cowboys. Again, this is a case of two really mediocre teams facing each other, and I just got the Giants. They're just less mediocre in my opinion.
Fair enough.
So next up, the Detroit Lions at the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going to go with the Lions here because the Colts' offensive line is frail, and Ziggy Ansah's going to open this game up with 3 sacks. Poor Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
He is the most hit quarterback. That's very sad. This guy, honestly, everyone loves Andrew Luck, and I respect him too. I think he's a nice guy, but I don't expect him to play as long as other players have, other quarterbacks, because he's just getting hit too much. It's going to add up.
Right. See, the Lions have 5 wide receivers that can all shred you, and 3 running backs that can shred you, and a quarterback that can shred you, and a defense that's way better than the Colts. Lions.
All right, Bill, before you go on, I need to check something. Let's see. When is the Colts bye? Because, Bill, I might have a surprise bold prediction. Oh, yes, I will. Because I'm going to say the Colts, by Week 10, on their bye week, will fire Chuck Pagano.
Oh, man.
I don't even know how he kept his job. You and I were baffled when this happened. This guy should not have kept his job. But he did.
Right?
But anyway, I just wanted to throw that one out there. That's a last-minute bold prediction. Chuck Pagano will not be with the Colts by the end of the year, or at the very earliest by Week 10.
Right.
All right, Bill.
So
Sunday night.
Next up, New England at the Arizona Cardinals.
So Sunday Night Football will have a new song to play with this. No more waiting all day for a Sunday night. But if only Tom Brady were starting here, this would have been the best way to ever open up a season on Sunday night, because this would have been a preview of Super Bowl 51. But it's Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he will be able to beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals, just too good of a team. You're sicking a rookie against a bunch of veterans. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I have the Cardinals taking care of business pretty easily here.
I've got the Cardinals stomping on the Patriots. They're going to absolutely crush them.
You want me to be honest? If
All right.
if Brady were here, I wouldn't even know who to pick. It would be really hard for me to pick against these teams. I could have thrown out the tie. But I can't.
Yep.
All right, Bill.
Well,
what you got? We got Monday night.
Yep. Next up is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Washington Football Team.
I've got Pittsburgh. They only have Antonio Brown. That's honestly enough. Josh Norman will not be able to stop him, I think. Antonio Brown, until Hopkins or Julio Jones just say otherwise, Antonio Brown will always be the best wide receiver right now.
Right. I also got them as well. I got the Steelers as well. I want Antonio Brown to have a 15-catch, 200-yard performance against Josh Norman, so that way he shuts his effing mouth.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, there's only one wide receiver I really want Josh Norman to shut out, and that's Odell Beckham. Their hatred for each other, I find it amusing. But I just want Josh Norman to be on the winning side for that. But that's about it.
Right. All right. So the last game is the LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm going to go with the Rams here. Case Keenum, people doubt him a lot, and I don't know if he's that above average, but I think he'll make a good case for himself as he just stomps the 49ers here, with Todd Gurley rushing for 150 yards.
I agree totally with that entire assessment. The Rams are going to win very easily.
All right, Bill, we have another game, Week 2, in case we're not around.
Yep. All right, so here we go. Next Thursday will be the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills.
I have Buffalo sticking it to New York as well, in particular. Rex Ryan sticking it to New York because he just hates everybody at this point.
And I've got the New York Jets so far uh, defeating the Bills, and they even up their record.
All right, that's fine. Okay, I think that'll do it for this video. Next week we'll recap all the games that happened last week. I'm glad to be back, Bill. It's really good to be back into the main season.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, man.
All right. So I think there's nothing else that needs to be said. We will see you guys next week.